Back again on this channel. In this video, we will recap a pretty good manga. This manga was released in 2020 and only has 45 chapters. A little synopsis of this manga is Sendo Chihiro, a high school girl, moves from Tokyo to the provincial island of Hanayama after her parents' divorce. There's something strange about the island she moves to. There is blatant discrimination against outsiders, mysterious rituals that suddenly take place, and a huge water tower built in the middle of the island. One day, a fisherman is stabbed to death in his home. The whole island becomes suspicious of the murderer, and the unexpected culprit is revealed. The genre of this manga is thriller, psychological, drama, mystery and horror. If you are curious about the video, please watch it until the end. Don't forget to subscribe. On a remote island called Hanayama, the residents are seen celebrating something. One of the residents has caught a large fish. But there is something strange in the fish's eyes. What is that thing? Who knows? Enter the main story. It's been exactly a month since she moved to that island. Sendo Chihiro, a high school girl from Tokyo. She tries to blend in with her new friends. But it doesn't seem to work. Chihiro then asks about how her friends usually do their shopping. And it seems to make the situation worse. One of the students said, "On this island, you might want to read the room a bit more about topics like that." The whole class looked at Chihiro with a bad look. Well, at least she tried. Apparently, her parents had gone through a divorce 6 months ago. The man who became her new dad turned out to be nicer than her expected, and living with her mom wasn't such a bad option. However, the thing that made Chihiro decide to go with her father to the island was because her mother always made fun of her father. Her mother said that sticking around with a useless person like that will only lead Chihiro astray. Chihiro angrily replied to her mother by saying the one who chose to marry that useless person was you in the first place. It's unfair to always badmouth dad when both of you are equally to blame. Hearing that, her mother could only be annoyed. Her family is finished. She made up her mind to move with her dad. Her father worked as a doctor on the island. Back to the present. Chihiro was studying in her room. Suddenly there was a sound of laughter from outside. She went out and saw her father and some local residents were drunk. Chihiro then approached them. One of the residents said to Chihiro that she was Sendu's daughter. At the celebration to commemorate the big catch by Sabiru Nakajima, the head of the fishermen's union here. They were all just having a congratulatory toast, but her father vomited on one of the residents' pants. Chihiro then helped her father to get up. With the thin clothes he was wearing, one of the residents looked tempted with a creepy smile. Nakajima then said, "What a quack doctor." Not only that, but he also said, the only doctors who would come to this island are all quack. Her drunk father tried to calm the atmosphere. But Nakajima didn't stop bothering her father. Suddenly her father prostrated himself and apologized to them, and that surprised Chihiro. Seeing that, they left Chihiro and her father. After they left, Chihiro brought her father home. In the toilet, her father vomited, and it made her worried. Seeing her father's condition, she could only be sad. She then went out of the house to calm down. She is exhausted. Nobody on that island wants to open to us outsiders. Why do they shut us out so much? It is hard to believe an island like this still exists today. When Chihiro wanted to go back, she saw a little girl walking alone. Chihiro recognized the child. She was Nakajima's daughter, Riko. Riko was looking for her father who had not come home. Chihiro also told her that her father was still out drinking with the chairman. She then offered Riko some food. Not long after, Chihiro brought Riko home. She had contacted the chairman that Riko was looking for her father. Her dad's on his way to pick her up. While waiting for her father to come, Chihiro showed Riko photos of when she lived in Tokyo. After that, she offered Riko milk, but she didn't like milk. The two of them became closer, and that made Chihiro a little happy. Not long after, Riko's father arrived. However, she suddenly pulled Chihiro's shirt and hugged her as if she was asking for help. But Chihiro couldn't do anything. After Riko left, she met her father in the kitchen. Her father saw her looking gloomy. He then asked what happened to her. Then Chihiro asked if her father wasn't angry. Her father was confused by the question. Chihiro then said, "They called you a quack doctor." Her father calmly replied that it didn't matter to him. "But did you really have to go so far as to kneel and apologize?" Her father couldn't say anything. Angrily, Chihiro said her father was pathetic. Her father patiently could only laugh a little. Something feels off on this island. The shrine its Toria Gate are all in ruins. A Toria Gate commonly found at the entrance of a Shinto shrine. It is regarded as a place where gods are welcomed and believed to travel through. There are no entry signs plastered everywhere. The next day at night, the residents were in an uproar. It turned out that Mr. Nakajima was found dead in his house covered in blood. Chihiro then went to Mr. Nakajima's house, and she saw Riko sitting there in fear. People started speculating. In the entire history of this island, never has a single murder occurred before. This island doesn't attract tourists, and even any did come, there are none staying overnight today. And even if there were any suspicious boats coming and going, we'd have noticed them right away. Then the big question is, who could have done this? And the residents glanced at Chihiro and her father. One of the residents suspected them because Mr. Nakajima was not good to them. She denied the accusation and said that her father had been sleeping at home this whole time. But Chihiro's statement was not accepted just like that. Then a question arose that left Chihiro speechless. "Then, are you saying the culprit is one of us? All of them on that island are like one big family. There is no way they could kill one another." The residents started to rage and blame Chihiro and her father. The police there calmed the residents down. The prefectural police will get to the bottom of this. The police then told the residents to disperse and return to their respective homes. Riko was taken by the police to his place to keep her safe. After the residents had returned, Chihiro could only be sad about the actions of the residents there. She said, "This island, it's giving me the creeps." At the officer's house, he was injured and covered in blood and begging for mercy. It turned out that the perpetrator was the little girl, Riko. With the remaining strength, the officer asked why Riko did that. Riko only answered that she didn't know. From Riko's point of view, you can see for yourself what she felt. It'd be best to get rid of annoying people, right? What's so wrong with killing people anyway? Riko then ended the officer's life. She then opened the refrigerator and drank milk. In fact, when Riko was with Chihiro at that time, she said that she hated milk. You can see in Riko's eyeballs, there was a kind of parasite. What is that? Is that the reason she changed like that? Watch until the end. The next day, Chihiro went to school. She passed Mr. Nakajima's house. That incident from yesterday, it cast a shadow over the entire island, leaving an eerie and unsettling vibe. Not long after that, she saw Riko sitting alone and covered in blood. One of the villagers approached her. Suddenly Riko cried. The villagers approached Riko. From a distance, Chihiro saw Riko's expression change. She was shocked to see that. When she arrived at school, she heard news that the local officer was murdered. And they said his head was split open with a hatchet. Not long after that, Chihiro's homeroom teacher came and started class. This homeroom teacher was quite good looking and was liked by the students. One of the students asked about the incident yesterday. He only said your main concern right now should be your own safety. Numerous police from the mainland are all over this now. Shimatsune Sensei, their homeroom teacher, is undoubtedly the most popular teacher in the school. His lessons are super clear, he's always polite and kind. With his vibrant personality, it's really no surprise that he's the favorite among the boys and the girls. After class, Sensei approached Chihiro. He asked if she was okay because he figured something bothering her. Chihiro replied that there has been way too much going lately. What happened yesterday really hit her hard since Riko and she are close. He feels the same way. He still recalls how Mr. Nakajima would always generously share the fish he caught with him. Seeing Chihiro, who was daydreaming, Sensei asked what was wrong. She then replied, "I'm not sure I can ever bring myself to love this island." Suddenly Sensei asked if Chihiro was free after school. Chihiro blushed. He wanted to show her something special. Suspicious, but let's continue the story. After school, Sensei and Chihiro went somewhere. Chihiro was a little worried about her teacher who suddenly invited her. Could it be that Sensei is a totally dangerous person? Chihiro then made an excuse that she had something urgent to take care of. He forced Chihiro because the place was also very close. They arrived at the place with a very beautiful view. Chihiro was amazed by the view shown by Sensei. "This spot is like a hidden gem," he said. Sensei tried to calm Chihiro down. He knows she had just moved there, and it's probably been tough for her on that island. With his silly attitude, Sensei tried to cheer up Chihiro, who was in a bad state. Chihiro laughed out loud seeing his silly behavior. That way Chihiro calmed down a little with Sensei's good treatment of her. They went back. On the way home, she thought that that island still has some good people and surprisingly beautiful places. So maybe I'll try sticking it out on this island for a little longer. Not long after, the happiness that Chihiro felt suddenly disappeared. Suddenly Sensei brought his face closer and said, "You've got such a pretty face." Sensei almost kissed Chihiro and she was almost tempted by it. But Chihiro politely refused. It's not okay for a teacher and his student to have some kind of relationship. Chihiro hurriedly wanted to leave the place. From behind, Sensei hugged her. From the start he was suspicious. Sensei tries to rape Chihiro. It turns out that he also has a parasite in his body. Maybe that's all for this video. I stopped at this chapter because I think the next chapters are not good enough in my opinion. If you are curious about the continuation, please read the manga. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to press the subscribe button.